The spin a lot with those short pips. Traditional choppers tend to use long pips on the backhand side. But with those short pips, there is more ball control, more opportunity for aggressive shots. So here we go. Who's going to join Kasumi Ishikawa in the women's singles final? This is such a difficult shot. For the first point of the game, Mima Ito takes a ball that most people would look at as pretty unhittable and just casually makes it inside out down the line early in the rally. That one sits a little bit too high, and the power that Mima Ito has in some of her flat hitting shots and even her drive, just a lot of racket speed. Physical conditioning, twisting, recovering for the next shot, doing it again and again. Even though that shot misses, you can feel the threat. Although as a defensive player, power doesn't scare you too much. Power and consistency, that's a problem. As a player who plays a relatively defensive game myself, it's always fun when people say, I'm gonna hit it through you. A lot of people feel that way against defenders. But the ball just keeps coming back on the table. Not as easy as it appears from the side necessarily. Outstanding play. When Mima Ito hit that ball deep to the backhand, it seemed like for sure the point would be over. How can you hit a ball that hard and that wide that comes back? Well, let's put Honoka Hashimoto on the other side and say that's one key ingredient to answer the question. Jeez. This ball has so much rotation on it. It's right at the baseline. Mima Ito powers through shot after shot, just working her around corner to corner. The power. Maybe it's that magnetic necklace. That or years and years of physical training and timing and solid coaching and hard work. Or a combination. Twiddle there for a moment. Saw the short pips appear on the forehand side of Hashimoto's racket. Ito very steady right now, up 6-1. I think it was the third point of the game that Ito lost. That's it. And then a service comes out with surprising amounts of topspin on it. Straight up service point for Hashimoto. Sort of a half shot there from Ito, a little bit of hesitation. As comfortable as she is, she's generally swinging the racket still. Unless she's pushing, she keeps the racket head speed up. It's tough to play soft against chops. Like to attack softly. Much better response. While Hashimoto's in near the table, right into the body, Mima Ito extends her lead back to 4. This power again, it just gives you reason to believe that if you work hard and you really understand timing and how the body works in table tennis, you can generate a lot of power. Mima Ito's conditioned very well. She's not the biggest, strongest person, but she hits the ball so hard. While there is a relation, of course, between speed and strength, in table tennis, speed is the more important of the two. takes strength from the legs and other things in conditioning, but being very bulky doesn't help you as much as, say, being able to move quickly, get some power from the legs, and twisting at the right time. Once again, here it is, the twist, the inside-out shot, and it's a 10-3 lead, 7 game points for Mima Ito. Guinness Book of World Record holder. That ball bending inside out. Flat hit attack down the middle does not come down. 11-3, a dominant game one, but we've seen turnarounds after games like this. Again, still a long way to go, and the game, and the match rather, is anybody's match. Let's see what happens in game two coming up right after this. Back for game number two, the chopper right now, Honoka Hashimoto with the serve, down 0-1 against Mima Ito. Solid start though. Service game, I think a lot of people forget how important serves are for choppers. It's a much lower toss than we've seen from Hashimoto, but still generates a good amount of spin on it. I was impressed. I thought for sure Mima Ito would miss that shot from where she started her swing. Her feet were way behind the ball. She really had to reach out, get that from over the table. Not easy to do. Trying to fish it up with some topspin, not happy about the decision. Now this is something we've seen a lot of from Hitomi Sato today. Topspin shots fished up from under the table, lobs even. I don't know Hashimoto, not as much, more aggressive play in general. Even in her topspin shots, they come back lower, a little bit flatter, less arc. Very spinny chop there. Now Hashimoto, I was thinking back to how many points she won on the attack in her last round. She won many points, being as solid as she is in her attack game. To get through Hina Hayata 4-1. That's not easy. Hina Hayata seems quite solid against choppers. But out here today, Honoka Hashimoto was definitely the better of the two. Players, that is. Opportunity, ball sits up a little bit. Mima Ito looking, takes it a little bit late, wants to drive it out to the corner. Watch one more time. I think that's just a change of spin. It's tough sometimes when you're so used to playing a ball lifting to hit through the backspin, and then someone gives you a ball with much less rotation but not clear topspin either. Oh, there's the backhand punch, some of the aggression. Okay, Hashimoto steps into the lead here. She's already outscored her game one score, twiddles the racket to get the black side out for the spinny backhand shot. A little bit short, finds the net. I'm really curious to see throughout this match how much attacking we get from Hashimoto. Oh, back edge of the table on the serve for an outright ace. Difficult to return a ball off the edge in general, especially on a serve when it kicks like that at the back of the table. Two service points in a row. Can't ask for much more than that. I mean, at least on two serves. You could ask for tons more than that. Winning the match, for example, of the tournament. A little bit late to counter this ball from down low. Again, the trajectory of many choppers' attacks on the forehand side is not the same as a loop from many attackers. It's a drive motion that's usually very forward. They don't want to get into the looping rallies back and forth. No problem though, Hashimoto retains the 2-point lead, gets it back. It's very exciting to be back here in Bulgaria. Can't believe it's been a year already. A lot of table tennis fans come from all over an hour away driving different parts of Bulgaria to see this. A lot of club players here, a lot of local tournaments in Bulgaria. Table tennis picking up in popularity. After all that work in the counters, Hashimoto's lead has disintegrated. It's tied at 7 points each. Now, Mima Ito's had some incredible matches against choppers. It was at the German Open where she beat Patricia Solja. That same tournament, she was playing Han Ying, was down 0-3, didn't have a chance. Won 4 games in a row, lightning speed, but look at this. Is that with the inverted side of the racket? Did she twiddle? I'd love to see that again. All right. Sure enough it is. She uses the black side of the racket, the inverted rubber, to keep the topspin on and play it out to the open table. Oh, the very corner of the table. This is 2 times in the same point that Honoka Hashimoto gets her feet tangled, crossed so quickly, and recovers like it's a dance move, no problem, and then extends here to the very corner of the table. Mima Ito had no idea that that ball was coming down. And even if she did, I mean, what do you do when the ball's there and you're playing a chopper? I mean, you run around it for a forehand. It's tough. You have to try to play it with the backhand and just touch it way out the other side, Waldner style, maybe Koki Niwa style. 3 game points for Hashimoto. Not yet. Mima Ito saves 1. And at the 3rd towel break of the game, Honoka Hashimoto shaking out the arm, making sure she doesn't get too tense. Face fan, sleeves up, ready to go. Oh, the crushing power again. Ito has so much strength, so much racket speed on those slapping shots that Hashimoto keeps herself far behind the table. And if it sits up that high on the table, from an angle standpoint, she just is not going to be able to cover side to side what Ito can reach. Oh, the topspin, and Hashimoto takes it with a fishing shot from down below the table. 11-9, tied up at 1 game apiece. The match is just getting started, my friends. Game 3, let's see who takes the lead coming up right after this. And we're back for game number 3. Mima Ito there with a high toss serve of her own. Twiddle again. 2 twiddles in the same rally from Hashimoto, trying to mix it up. Remember, she just won game number 2 from way down below the table there. Next shot right back in. I feel like this is such a big part of the defensive game today. Staying near the table or coming back in, keeping the pressure on the attacker. There's the twiddle. Ito's body language has been quite interesting over the last year and a half. Again, she rose to celebrity, one of the top 10 players in the world at quite a young age. And has definitely not peaked, but has plateaued temporarily. Hasn't sort of played as strong or had such the results that she had through 2015 maybe. Oh, there it is, the inside out shot. A lot of power. That click sound, that high pitched sound means there's a lot of drive on it. A little bit less spin. Still keeps some spin on it though. That's the security that professionals need unless the ball's lobbed or quite in near the net and high enough to just slap. Oh, what? That had to hit the top of the net. The apology there, sure enough, it did. From the angle I was at, you couldn't see very clearly. I guess the angle we were at for this point. From the other camera angle, it looked like the ball was just dropped for a few bounces. So interesting to see different body language, posture, even how hands are being sort of positioned between shots. Mima Ito's left hand goes sort of ragdoll and just hangs there between points. It's very casual. But she knows how to turn up the heat when she needs to. Right now she's leading 4-2 at the first towel break. Placement on the first attack right into the body and then go wide. Just like against an attacker, the same tactic, the same logic applies against defenders. Tends to be a little bit more in and out though. Oh, chop block goes long, but this is the in and out. Whenever Mima Ito gets the ball to the backhand, unless it's sitting too high, she's gonna go for the push. She's gonna leave it on the table short, bring Hashimoto back in, and then take advantage when the push comes up a little bit high and attack while Hashimoto's close to the table and has less time to react. Same pattern. Twiddled once again, left with the short pips on the forehand side. Nothing she could do either way. Not a lot anyway. This is a very good setup from Mima Ito. Oh, down the line. Long serve into the backhand, one attack out wide to the backhand, and then right down the line, turning the corner. This is bread and butter right now for Mima Ito. So smooth out here. This one goes just long. Now Mima Ito's on the side of the table that nobody's lost on yet. Not in this match. Whoever's played on that side of the table has won the game. Not a superstition thing so much as it is maybe there's just an advantage to being there. Maybe it's easier to play there. Lighting standpoint. What's behind the table. I think Honoka Hashimoto was watching just to see if the ball hit the edge of the table, waiting. Mima Ito did not acknowledge any edge, therefore Hashimoto saying, okay, no problem, I think you're right. Second towel break of the game. Still a 4-point lead for Mima Ito. The control factor, very impressive. Again, with the short pips on the backhand side, which is the case for both players, Mima Ito is going to be able to touch the ball gently and leave it up on the table on the forehand side using those backhand short pips. I feel like over the table, the touch game, they can be very effective for slowing the ball down as well. No messing around here early in the point. Mima Ito takes it up to 9-4, 2 points away from extending her lead in games. It's just amazing to me that Honoka Hashimoto is 15 in the world already. There's the twiddle. Saves one, and it's enough. You know, I bring up that world ranking shocked simply because, I mean, it feels like maybe a year and a half ago, Honoka Hashimoto wasn't even on the world tour. I think that must have been the first time I had seen her. Exactly. February of 2016 was her first world tour event. That's crazy. Think about it. That's literally 1.5 years. We're in the 8th month of the year right now. The 2nd month of the year in 2016 she started playing, and she's already 15 in the world. On the men's side, what, Simone Gauzy? How long has Simone Gauzy been playing? And it's not to say that she hasn't been playing, but in terms of World Tour events, I mean, Simone Gauzy has been one of the front runners for France for a long time. Is worked very hard to gradually work his way up. Honoka Hashimoto, first invitation February of 2016. Could be in the top 10 after this tournament if things go her way. But it does not come down. It's Mima Ito who takes the game 11 points to 6 with a little bit of comfort room as well. A 2-1 lead, and we'll be back for game 4 coming up right after this. Back for game number 4. Honoka Hashimoto trailing now 1-2 versus Mima Ito. After losing 6-11 in the last game. Looking to turn things around quickly, but this is also the side of the table that Honoka Hashimoto has not lost on yet in this match. Good start for the chopper. Almost still comes down. It almost looked like Hashimoto stepped on the racket. Plays this ball from right near the foot. That would be quite an unusual situation. Mima Ito's shoes, that's the pair of shoes where it looks like there's a ball half sticking out. You can often see on her left shoe. Opening backhand attack. There it is. See that ball? Part of the shoe design. man. I was just thinking about the costume where all the balls are all over. I think Takeo Gainin, where the balls come loose when he's hitting. Just an extreme example of trying to wear something that looks like a ball to distract your opponent. I think Gainin, actually. Takeo Gainin. Sorry about that if I got it wrong. So here's the power deep to the corner. Mima Ito so strong at taking these balls from the back of the table and still finding the corner, playing for power. There's some attack action. Hashimoto, if she can keep it deep to the backhand corner or move Ito around a bit. The risky part is if she plays it out to the forehand and steps around the corner on it, Ito's very comfortable to get it back. So Hashimoto leading 4-3. And now 5-3. Step around and attack, and it doesn't come back. And just because it rhymes doesn't mean it always works. Mima Ito rounds the corner here, but it's a dangerous situation, a little bit risky to leave open that forehand counterattack. If she can make that shot, that's going to be pretty high security, I'd say. Hitting it that hard, that flat. Choppers are used to a bit of topspin to work with, unless they're really far from the table and the ball reaches them on your flat hit. So even though Hashimoto gets an attack in here, it's not the same intensity. It's not the attack that's to finish the point that we're used to from Hashimoto. It's just to change it up, something to keep some pressure on, add some variety to the point. Obviously she wants to win the point, but from that far behind the table, rarely with that, I'd say, that pace of shot, is she going to win the point outright. Oh, right behind her. Big shot out wide, and as soon as she comes back to recover the open court, Mima Ito just pounces on it, smashes it right behind her. Flat hit off the bounce. Not easy to do for Mima Ito. It's just a walk in the park. Look at this. She's moving sideways when she hits that. Still very little margin for error on that side of the table. This time a deep chop, a bit lower, quite heavy. Even Mima Ito can't flat hit through that one. At least she doesn't here. You can see how taut the net is, how quickly it stops shaking. Ito now 2 points away from a 3-1 lead. I think for many people it would be quite fascinating to see Kasumi Ishikawa versus Mima Ito in the final. Quality of point very strong. The ending of the point does not go Mima Ito's way. Not this one, top of the net now. It's 3 game points for Mima Ito. Nice serve there, though, from Hashimoto. The ball kicked the opposite way of what it looked like it might. And Mima Ito cleans it up 11-7, a 3-1 lead. She's 1 game away from getting herself a spot in the final for the title, but she's not there yet. Hashimoto's gonna fight to keep that from happening, and Ito's gonna do just the opposite and look to close out this match. Game 5 coming up right after this. Game 5, and we're back. Mima Ito leading 3-1 over Honoka Hashimoto. Tries to counter. Way behind the table. Definitely needs some answers. Lost the last 2 games, 6-7, 11-6 and 11-7. That means change is a must, especially when you're down 1-3. Ito turning the corner, trying to keep the arm loose there. You can see getting the blood all the way out to the hand, making sure that the shoulder doesn't tense up too much. This is why sometimes after playing a lot of table tennis, before going into an immediate stretch, doing a jog, a cool down jog to evenly distribute the blood, avoid cramps or muscle strains. It's quite important, I would say. Oh, and it comes down on the table. Ito was late to show up for that backhand corner party, but fashionably late, and no problem. Very difficult ball. Timeout here for Hashimoto. Again, high balls to the backhand side are quite difficult. If you have time to run around and use the forehand, that's often a much more successful way to go. But depending on who your opponent is, you also leave open the other side of the table. Looking at that blade, I have to imagine that's Hashimoto's racket. Just trying to remember the specifics of Mima Ito's backhand. And no short pips. Moristo SP, there we go. That's what she's using. I remember so many fans wanted to know, because the way she controls it, the way she plays with spin, just does wonders for that specific brand and that rubber. People see others performing like that. They want to know what they're using. Also have to credit the athlete a lot. Hard work. I handed Fong Bo my racket. Joe Yu, actually. It was Joe Yu. No problem. Right out of the timeout, Mima Ito. No answer yet. Hasn't dropped a point in the 5th game. She's at 5-0. Hawaii 5-0 out here. The necklace has turned quite a bit, though. It's unusual to see for Mima Ito. All right, she's human. Misses the shot down the line. A little bit of a floating push, not a lot of rotation from Hashimoto. So interesting how Hashimoto's attacks can be so effective and such high percentage shots against another player like Hina Hayata today. But against Mima Ito, she's just not getting the same shot selection. The opportunities aren't coming up. She's really having to force herself to look for them. I mean, superhuman. Mima Ito so many times. She hits about 3 shots in this rally that are low percentage shots for even a lot of professionals. Maybe 2 out of those last 3 anyway. This is what we call touch, feeling. Mima Ito gets surprised. The ball comes off the top of the net, stops her stroke, and slowly finishes the stroke earlier in the point. Still stays right in it. There was the twiddle and the twiddle back. Rarely when Hashimoto twiddles is she twiddling to use the short pips on the forehand side. Typically it's going to be to push the ball in near the table with the inverted rubber on the backhand to generate a little bit more spin, or to play the attack with the backhand side. More spinny shot if she puts the black there. But a higher percentage of the time, she's got the red rubber on the backhand, the short pips of her racket with this racket. Tough ball to lean out like that for. Mima Ito covers one out with the forehand block. This is the one she has to chase. And doesn't get herself one more step, doesn't want to lean and fall out of position. Ends up costing her the point there. Not enough support to lift that ball. From a footwork standpoint, this one's a little bit better, but she goes for a bold shot down the line. Now suddenly just a 3-point lead. Still 3 points away from moving on to the women's singles final. Oh, 2 bounces on the table. A break off the top of the net. Mima Ito, a little bit of a smirk on her face for a moment. I think she couldn't believe she got so fortunate on this shot. It's as short as a drop shot can come off the top of the net. And again, relatively crucial point in the match. Not sure what happened there. Mima Ito saying there's something on the ground here by the table. Looks like a piece of the net maybe that came off. Tape. Umpire, the assistant umpire, taking a look at it. Hope we have a chance to take a look in a moment. Maybe something fell in the middle of the point that we couldn't hear from here, but she could hear down on the court. Piece that fell off the net. I'm really surprised Mima Ito didn't say anything. Call a let. Flashing LED barrier in the background. This is, I mean, she's got to call attention to this. With all the things people do, I mean, Dima called earlier someone walking out through a curtain about 40 feet behind the court. You've got a strobe light behind Honoka Hashimoto. Mima Ito was like, no, seriously, it was happening. You can't see it right now. But she's right, this needs to be addressed. She shouldn't play another point until she's guaranteed it's settled. At least I know that's what I would do. You don't want to start a point trying to be nice and then regret it. Suddenly it's 9-8, you end up losing the game and maybe the match. Every point matters out here. It's crucial she has her focus. Fortunately for her, she has the focus throughout, has control, and now has 3 match points. Oh, just missing the short side. So third towel break of the game. 2 more match points for Mima Ito. I don't know all the words of Despacito yet, but Mima Ito, the right number of syllables, and the last 2 syllables for the rhyme, of course. So Hashimoto now with the serves. Too strong. Out to the forehand side. It's 16-year-old Mima Ito who moves on to play the title match, the championship match, against her teammate, her predecessor, 24-year-old Kasumi Ishikawa, the top seed in this tournament. So everything has worked out on the women's side as should be. And we have our finalists. Tomorrow you will get to see the battle you were waiting for, Mima Ito versus Kasumi Ishikawa. We've got a very exciting match coming up in just a moment. And the biggest one of the day that brings up the most questions will be the last. Next is Kenta Matsudaira versus Kenta Tazoe. And after that will be Quadri Aruna versus Dmitry Ovcharov. So congratulations, Mima Ito, and stick around as we come up to the men's singles semifinals. You're watching the 2017 Asarel Bulgaria Open.